how could Sick Boi not be the next thing that I react to, right? I mean, come on, it's back up. I've come out as a renegade. It's time. So I'm super excited to react to this one, but I just want to say a couple little extra things about me that maybe you don't know. I'm not just a vocal instructor. I've also been a musician of a lot of different backgrounds. I used to be an opera musical theater singer here.
No spirit could win me.
I used to sing with a vintage rock band that I was the primary composer for here.
She's a drifting girl with wandering eyes, and if she tries to overside.
I had a synth pop, electro pop band called Sojourn Society that I performed with. You can see here. I had an experimental avant-garde house music project called Wolfjung, which you can see here. And now the next music projects that I'm working on have to do with looping and live realization of spontaneous music in the moment. That's kind of where my heart is right now. All right, so that's a little bit about me and my musical background. In the future, I'm going to do a more thorough breakdown of all of these projects and share a little bit more about me and my past coming up with music and all that stuff. But that's not that important right now. Right now, like I did for the Cujo Beatdown, I'm putting on my Renegade hat. I'm going to listen through and just talk about whatever I think is interesting. I can't wait to listen to this. All right, here we go. Without further ado, let's jump right in.
Hi, Ren. Thank you for coming in today.
Thanks for seeing me.
Looking at your file here, it seems there's a very apparent interplay with your emotional state and your physical body. Have you ever heard of the trauma response?
I don't think so.
Basically, our bodies can get stuck in a negative feedback loop. Our subconscious can repeat patterns from the past, which can have a pretty drastic downstream effect on our biology. Essentially, your mind is making you sick.
Sick boy, bitten by a tick boy, looking for that fix boy, anabolic steroids, stem cell, poster boy, pass out, white noise, quick fix, snake oil, I'm about to break boy. Oh, what a shame, he's in pain, have another go, take another pill, here, take a couple more, let's see how you're doing in another week or so, you'll be feeling worse when the side effects will show, derealization, medical patient, losing patience with the process, walking hand in hand with Satan, complications with the medication, inflammation, dehydration, inhalation, aggravation, building up a toleration, drown, soccer, drown, soccer, drown, soccer, drown, I've been feeling like I'm drowning with my feet upon the ground, I've been screaming, I've been shouting, but I never make a sound, I've been looking for a way out, but I always seem to drown.
Is this all making sense, Ren?
Yeah, I think so.
Good. What I propose we do is we try to pinpoint the exact experiences from the past that are keeping you stuck. What can you tell me about your childhood?
I can't really think.
It's okay if nothing comes up right away. What I'd like you to do is take some deep breaths with me. In and out. In and out. Good. Now tell me the first thing that comes to your mind.
I feel like it's not me, it's the world that's sick. We're given everything we need and we commoditize it. We consume, we destroy like we're parasitic. Science tells us that it's suicide and still we commit. I'm not sick, we are sick. We are standing on a cliff in the name of progress. We jump off the precipice. I'm not sick, I'm the virus, you're the virus, hypocrite. How can you sit there with that smile on and tell me that I'm sick? Sick boy, looking for a fix boy. Push it down in public, quick pose for the pick boy. Record label meetings that commodify your gift boy. Why you so upset? Don't you wanna be a rich boy? Fuck no, industry is cutthroat. I've been doing bits by myself, swimming backstroke, walking on a tightrope, rapping with a slit throat. The way that we persist is like the ending of a bad joke. As the people evolve, we're complacent to assailants and we do what we're told. Counterintelligence, a sight to behold. Rape the earth of all resources and we bleed it for gold. And we bleed it for wealth, we bleed it for fame. But when you bleed it, can you tell me what the fuck will remain? And I bleed in myself, I bleed in my brain. While I'm bleeding, I'm the reason, cause I'm doing the same.
What? That's it? What? Man. Oh. Ren. Oh, man. Wow. That was exciting. Again, I'm in like I got my reaction going on here, my little goosebump thing going on. Wow, wow, wow. Okay, Ren killing it as always. I'm so glad I got to hear that. So I know I'm going to hear, you got to let me know what's the deal with the mask? Like, where's the mask reference? Is that like a butcher? Is that like the medical community, the medical world butchering him trying to find a solution? What's the symbolic reference of that? Let me know. I know you all know. I'd love to hear your comments on that. Of course, we saw that also in the Cujo Beatdown video. You know, it's so funny about the song. My first feeling was getting to the end of it. I was like, okay, we're getting into the song now. Ren seems to do this a lot. I'm starting to notice it's like the songs end sometimes with a little bit of a, wait, we're not quite done yet. Give us some more. I felt like Cujo Beatdown ended that way too. Like I felt like the song could have been 5 minutes or 6 minutes, and it was shorter than that. And it's interesting. Like he leaves it open. He leaves a little bit of a feeling of a cliffhanger in his music. Sure that he does that on purpose, but I can definitely feel it. It's like I'm getting to a part in the song where I'm like, okay, let's go, let's do more. And then he just kind of fades it out. It's like, what? Wow, that was great. So I want to go back and just listen through it again and just stop and start and say interesting things that are coming to my mind when I listen, okay? All right, let's go back now. All right, first off, the breathing is really cool here. Obviously now I see that the breathing that he was doing in the opening of Cujo Beats was a reference to the breathing he's doing here. But I got to say, that breathing that he was doing in the beginning of the Cujo beat, where he's down on his knuckles and there's a lot more intensity to the breath, that's cool. I see how that started here, obviously, but I loved in the Cujo Beats one, there were more vocals heaving. It was like, there was like a chorus of gorillas heaving or something. Like, it's so cool. Another thing, I got to talk about this beat a second here. Let's listen to it a little bit more, and then I'm going to say something.
Hi, Ren. Thank you.
All right. That beat is insane. I'm sorry. Like, I know that there's all this stuff about Cujo and what he did and all this, like, not a fan of Cujo, but separating out the man from his art, this is a sick beat. I mean, it's really good. I see the problem, you know, like Cujo's a killer producer. Like this whole that little like almost like a steel tom drum type of a sound. Like that's a really wild production concept, and it's so edgy and raw. And that chorus sample, I see why it's a problem because it's a huge part of the track, actually. Like it's playing out almost like it's the voices in Ren's head. And they just keep looping, and it's like that annoying, repetitive, negative chatter in your mind. So cool.
Coming in today.
Thanks for seeing me.
Looking at your file here, it seems there's a very apparent.
Hear that little I love that part of the beat. I have to hear more of that. You hear that? I love that.
Hi, Ren. Thank you for coming in today.
Thanks for seeing me.
Looking at your file here, it seems there's a very apparent interplay with your emotional state and your physical body.
The theatrical combination of this again, Ren's combining everything here. It's so innovative, like acting, the theater, the rap integration, the badass beat, the symbolism. I love when artists leave little Easter eggs to be discovered throughout their music of symbols and things that they mean that then are left for interpretation, that then the fans get to find and break out and figure out what they're trying to say. Ren is so good at that.
Have you ever heard of the trauma response?
I don't think so.
Basically, our bodies can get stuck in a negative feedback loop. Our subconscious can repeat patterns from the past, which
All right, this whole like trauma response and negative feedback loop stuff, I feel like I'm putting on a whole other hat of mine here. I mentioned in the past that I've done a lot of work on myself with like recovery and things like that, and trauma is a big part of recovery. A lot of people that have recovery stuff with addiction come from trauma early on. I fall in that category, and I can say it's fascinating to hear him putting this all out on the table like this, all of these things that he went through from his Lyme disease recovery. And if you know anything about Lyme disease recovery at all, there is a huge mental illness element to it because it puts you in this state of feeling like you can't do anything at all for long periods of time. I've known some other people who have gone through Lyme disease issues, like Tim Ferriss. He's somebody that I've read a lot of his work. He had Lyme disease, and his story with it is not dissimilar from REN. It really messed with him. So that REN has transmuted that and turned this into art as a way that he's helping to process and come out of it. As I've talked about that in other videos. I think that's absolutely genius. But it's all real true. This stuff about when we have trauma responses, when we have perpetual pain, when we're in these constant states of depression, it does create this negative feedback loop that starts feeding itself. And then we have to figure out somewhere along the way to rewrite that and get the positive feedback loop into our lives. And he's creating community around the transmuting of that. Wow.
Basically, our bodies can get stuck in a negative feedback loop. Our subconscious can repeat patterns from the past, which can have a pretty drastic downstream effect on our biology. Essentially, your mind is making music.
That chorus sample is so killer right here. It's just like weaving into your mind. And, you know, it's really interesting, the production of this. It feels that there is an intentional frenetic energy to it. You know, we've got this beat, ba 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 ba. Then we've got this chorus, na, 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 na. Then we have this therapist speaking in this sort of dull, emotionless tone. And then we've got Ren rapping first in sort of a chill, lower energy way, and then he's talking, and then he gets up, and he gets up in his like revved up voice. There's a lot of energy in this track, a lot of expressive energy, all kind of working at once. Yeah, so is this like a butcher? Is it that the medical organizations are butchers and they don't know how to help you? Is that it? I remember him talking about feeling like the medical community is not doing a good enough job taking care of people in his 1 million subscriber speech. I remember him talking about that, and I wonder if some of the bloody butcher looking stuff is playing into that a bit. And what's this chorus saying here? Anybody have an idea? I'm sure you do. Let me know.
Sick boy, bitten by a tick boy, looking for that fix boy, anabolic steroid.
Bitten by that tick boy.
Damn cell, poster boy, pass out. White noise, quick fix, snake oil. I'm about to break, boy. Oh, what a shame, he's in pain. Have another go.
Yeah. Lyme disease is something that's like super not understood still in the medical community, which is crazy. And I'm not surprised at all that they were just throwing treatments and things at him. It's so sad that he went through all of that, but it's amazing that he's transmuted it.
White noise, quick fix, snake oil. I'm about to break, boy. Oh, what a shame, he's in pain. Have another go. Take another pill. Here, take a couple more. Let's see how you're doing in another week or so. You'll be feeling worse when the side effects will show. Derealization, medical patient, losing patience with the...
Here comes that ba 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 back into the beat again. Oh, I love that. Damn, Cujo, I have to say, it's good. It's so good, this beat.
Take another pill. Here, take a couple more. Let's see how you're doing in another week or so. You'll be feeling worse when the side effects will show. Derealization, medical patient, losing patience with the process. Walking hand in hand with Satan, complications with the medication.
What's really interesting about this beat is the bottom end is really pretty open. There's not a lot of bass guitar competing with the drum elements in the production, which gives it a lot of room for the drum and rhythmic elements to play in. When you're producing a track, the more that you layer in extra synthesizers, extra keyboard sounds, extra guitar sounds, extra complicated bass tones, it muddies up your ability to do cool rhythmic stuff with the rhythmic elements of the song. And this beat is really well done and high level because of the clarity of all of the elements inside of it. It's not overproduced, even though it's a pretty busy beat. And that's why this beat is so cool. We've got that chorus sample really featured out there, and then the rest of the sonic room of the track is left open for all that cool percussion-y stuff going on. Listen for that.
Dehydration, inhalation, aggravation, building up a toleration. Drown, soccer, drown, soccer, drown.
Here, it's kind of like the bass and the kick drum are all kind of fused. Boom, boom, boom. It's like that low end has a great marriage of the the punch of the kick with a little bit of an enhancement of that low sub bass sound. Wow.
Conversating complications with the medication, inflammation, dehydration, inhalation, aggravation, building up a toleration. Drown, soccer, drown, soccer, drown, soccer, drown. I've been feeling like I'm drowning with my feet upon the ground.
Listen to Ren's vocal changes here. Sometimes he's in da, 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 da. He's in a chill type of a tone, and then he gets into that like revved up, like, you know, that biting tone, reminiscent of like a young Eminem tone where it's just like revved up. He has such dynamic contrast, not only in his singing, but also in his rapping too.
I've been screaming, I've been shouting, but I never make a sound. I've been looking for a way out, but I always seem to drown.
Listen to the harmonies around his voice in that rap part there. Da, 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 da. There's a lot of interesting stuff going on in this track. You really need to listen with headphones to hear everything that's going on. Listen to this.
Drown, soccer, drown, soccer, drown, soccer, drown.
Do you drown, sucker, drown, sucker, drown, sucker, drown? If you listen in your headphones, it's in the right side, I think, is where I'm hearing it. Listen for the little doublings. He does a lot of that in his rapping where he'll be rapping, and then to enhance the text in a part, he'll bring multiple voices in, either double himself, change it up a bit, or bring in a higher voice. I don't know if that's somebody else or him doubled up there doing that, but you can create these extra textures around it by doing these panning effects. By the way, a panning effect is when you take a signal and you pan it more in your left ear than your right ear, or vice versa, and that gives a stereo spatial effect to the track. All great producers use that very well. That's why you want to listen with split speakers or headphones if you're a big fan of music, because there's a lot more information in the track than you realize in the way that they do the panning.
Another pill, here, take a couple more. Let's see how you're doing in another week or so.
So there's even doublings happening alongside his vocal right here as well. But it sounds like him doubled again, kind of speaking in a little bit different tone. Listen for that. And then listen for how it goes up into those higher sounds later.
Take another pill, here, take a couple more. Let's see how you're doing in another week or so. You'll be feeling worse when the side effects will show.
Did you hear his voice doubled there? Now listen to how that changes.
Derealization, medical patient, losing patience with the process, walking hand in hand with Satan, complications with the medication.
We're still just having him doubled. We don't have it going up in pitch yet, the doubling.
Inflammation, dehydration, inhalation, aggravation, building up a toleration. Drown, soccer, drown, soccer, drown, soccer, drown.
Right there. Drown, sucker, drown, sucker, drown, sucker, drown. There's another voice that goes up in pitch there. Did you hear that? Listen to that part.
Drown, soccer, drown, soccer, drown, soccer, drown. I've been feeling like I'm drowning with my feet upon the ground. I've been screaming, I've been shouting, but I never make a sound.
So it sounds like we've got like another doubling of his voice right here, and then we've got that high voice doing its thing as well. There's many layers of sounds happening around his primary rap here.
I've been drown, soccer, drown, soccer, drown, soccer, drown. I've been feeling like I'm drowning with my feet upon the ground. I've been screaming, I've been shouting, but I never make a sound.
Yeah, there's multiple doublings happening there. There's another low voice of his, and then also that da-da-da-da-da. There's that high stuff panned left and panned right. And then it drops out.
Drown, soccer, drown, soccer, drown, soccer, drown. I've been feeling like I'm drowning with my feet upon the ground. I've been screaming, I've been shouting, but I never make a sound. I've been looking for a way out, but I always seem to drown.
Is this all making?
So when he said that, I've been looking for a way out, but I always seem to drown. That part, all of the doublings of the vocals dropped away, and it was just Ren. And then it transitions into the therapist talking to him. She's great, by the way. She plays this really, really well.
Sense, Ren.
Yeah.
Now, she's got to be somebody interesting to the story. I mean, Ren always brings in a friend, the bass players playing Cujo or whatever. You know, it's like, who is this? I'm sure you all know who this is. Is this somebody special in his life, or is this just like an actor or therapist?
I think so.
Good. What I propose we do is we try to...
Those little flashes in, and then she becomes the cat. Is that a cat, or is that the same mask that we're seeing that he wears for Sick Boi, that like pig face? Is it a pig face? I'm getting confused of these masks. I need some help with that. What's going on with the masks and the significance of the masks?
pinpoint the exact experiences from the past that are keeping you stuck. What can you tell me about your childhood?
I can't really think.
It's okay if nothing comes up right away. What I'd like you to do is take some deep breaths with me.
Notice how the choir sample is still playing in the background through all of this. It's like the haunting of the illness, the mental illness, just spinning and spinning in his mind. He can't get rid of it. It's such an important part of the track. It's crazy that was the problem with the beat altogether. It sucks that Cujo didn't handle this better. he's a great producer. This is a really good song.
In and out.
I love the production in this part here. These like little watery. It reminds me of this artist Muramasa back in the day, like 10 years ago. Muramasa had some interesting, like super minimal, micro-y sounds like water drips, boop, little things like that. Sophie is also an artist who used to do a lot of this kind of really experimental types of real world sounds made very featured in a track, which then gives it this unique production sound. This is what Cujo's doing here in this beat. Hello. Those little kooky sounds. I love stuff like that. I used to do a lot of that in my avant-garde experimental stuff. Like I was super into producing like weird music. I was very much not interested in making music for the masses. Like my stuff was crazy experimental, and I just love weird stuff like that.
In and out. Good. Now tell me the first thing that comes to your mind.
I feel like it's not me, it's the world that's sick. We're given everything we need and we commoditize it.
So this is an interesting moment from an expressive standpoint, from an artistic standpoint, because now we start to see actually what Ren thinks is going on with the world, and the problems with the music business and the problems with medicine and how all of these things, we start to get the true perspective here at this point in the rap. Super interesting.
On me, it's the world that's sick. We're given everything we need and we commoditize it.
It's the world that's sick. We're given everything we need, but we commoditize it.
Consume, we destroy like we're parasitic. Science tells us that it's suicide and still we commit. I'm not sick, we are sick. We are standing on a cliff in the name of progress. We jump off the press.
I'm not sick. We are sick. We're standing on the cliff in the name of progress. Ooh, yup. That's the truth.
Standing on a cliff in the name of progress, we jump off the precipice. I'm not sick, I'm the virus, you're the virus, hypocrite. How can you sit there with that smile on and tell me that I'm sick boy, looking for a fix, boy.
I love the way that he's personified this duality inside of his being. We've got the part of him that's loving, that's warm, that wants the best for himself and the world, that wants to heal, the sweet, innocent boy part of him. Then we've got the frustrated, oppressed, sad, angry, lonely fragment of his personality, which was compressed and fostered and nurtured during all of his illness. He has, like we all have, multiple aspects of his personality that are trying to express themselves through his art. And I love how he allows those personifications to come through. You can even hear it in the tone quality of the way that he's rapping here in this song. The moments where he's rapping introspective and sweet, and he's talking to himself and talking to the therapist like a sweet, honest, loving person. And then there's the response where there's the, I'm not the problem, the world's the problem. And he flips right into that, which is honest. Like, that's an honest thing for him to feel here, given everything that he's been through. Wow.
Push it down in public, quick pose for the big boy. Record label meetings that commodify your gift, boy. Why you so upset? Don't you wanna be a rich boy? Fuck no, industry is cutthroat. I've been doing bits by myself, swimming back.
It's making his artistic statement here. It's not about the money. The music business is screwed. This is about the art, and that's what he's leaning on. And he's saying it flat out right here in such a clever, brilliant way.
Walking on industry is cutthroat. I've been doing bits by myself, swimming backstroke. Walking on a tightrope, rapping with a slit throat. The way that we persist is like the ending of a bad joke.
Whether we persist is like the ending of a bad joke. He's up, he's singing here. He sings a teeny weeny bit in this, the same way that he did in High Rent at the end, which I know if you saw that reaction I did, I was so surprised at the end. I didn't know if it was going to be all rap or singing. But, oh, I love that part that he goes up and he does that singing part there. It's so good.
We is eyebrow, rapping with a slit throat. The way that we persist is like the ending of a bad joke. As the people evolve, we're complacent to assailants and we do what we're told.
Now he's up rapping in his upper register of his voice.
Counterintelligence, a sight to behold. Rape the earth of all resources and we bleed it for gold. And we bleed it for wealth, we bleed it for fame. But when you bleed it, can you tell me what the fuck will remain?
Listen to the emotion in his voice here. Nobody raps like this that I've heard. Now, I'm not a huge listener to rap. I love rap, but I mean, there's only so much I can listen to in a day. But I will say, like, this is so interesting. Who else is rapping like this? Nobody.
And we bleed it for wealth, we bleed it for fame. But when you bleed it, can you tell me what the fuck will remain? And I bleed in myself, I bleed in my brain. While I'm bleeding, I'm the reason, cause I'm doing the same.
Doesn't it feel like we should go into like a bridge here and some weird stuff's going to happen and then we come back to the beat again and it just keeps going on? When are we getting the extended cut of this, Ren? That's what you need to do. Ah, wow. I'm so glad to have heard that. Like, and I see what the problem is. Like I said earlier on in this reaction, like that beat is killer. Like that's a really good beat. Ba, 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 ba. Like it's it's so badass. So, you know, I see why it's a problem in this whole Cujo thing. And who knows, maybe Cujo will come around. Maybe there is still some redemption possible. You know, anything's possible. I will say, though, that I'm a huge fan of the way Ren has handled the whole Cujo thing. And I'm not a fan so far of the way that Cujo has handled it. And I'm open to hear it all, but anyway, that was amazing. I'm so glad that I got to listen through that, and now I've got another Renegade song to add to my list. And now what does that get me up to? Is that like 10 that I have in the playlist? If you haven't checked it out, check out my Renegade playlist, or I think it's titled Ren and Friends. Listen to that, share it with fellow Renegades, get the word out. I'm going to keep doing more reactions, and I'm thinking up next I'm probably going to move back into the Big Push or Sam Tompkins. I'm thinking Sam Tompkins might be next on my list. And thanks for checking this out. More to come. I'll see you in my next video. Cheers.